Good afternoon, I'm Suzanne Verdi. The final results are still coming in, but the Conservatives are today counting the cost of a local election which was the party's worst showing in 24 years. 1 in 4 Tory councillors lost their seats. Labour also suffered, making losses rather than the gains they had been hoping for. Meanwhile, speculation is mounting over a possible Brexit deal between the two main parties. Our political correspondent Joe Pike reports.
Results are still rolling in Northern Ireland. But in England, the stark political reality has long been painfully clear. Worse than the Tories' worst expectations, they've not done this badly for 24 years. Back from maternity leave and back in the spotlight, Scottish Conservative leader Ruth Davidson wants Brexit sorted.
Yesterday's local government elections, we saw angry voters give both the Labour Party and our own party an almighty kicking. So I say to the negotiating teams of our party and the Labour Party, who are currently locked in talks, get Brexit sorted, get a deal over the line and let Britain move on.
In total, Theresa May's lost almost 1,300 councillors. Meanwhile, Labour should be winning seats after 9 years in opposition. Instead, they're down 63. So where did the voters go? Mainly to the Lib Dems, but the Greens and independent candidates also benefited. If the message from voters on Brexit is get on with it, this member of Theresa May's top team seems to have heard loud and clear.
We should be open to compromises that deliver Brexit, and then we can get on and move on and talk about all the other things.
And would a customs union deliver Brexit?
Well, I think that we need to be open to those discussions, to the results of those discussions, and open to compromise critically that can deliver Brexit and get us out of the European Union.
With the government showing signs they're prepared to move, the big question remains, will Labour budge?
The Prime Minister has refused to move at all on her red line. So that is why there has been such little progress. And so I hear that there's talk of compromise today. But I think, to be honest, whatever happens, it needs to go back to the public for the public to have a say.
The next week here could be dramatic. The pressure is now on the two main parties to broker a deal and avoid another kicking as the countdown continues to the European elections in just 19 days' time. Joe Pike, ITV News.
Well, as you heard there, the Scottish Conservative leader Ruth Davidson has been addressing her party conference in Aberdeen today. STV's political editor Colin Mackay is there now. So, Colin, what was her main message then?
Her main message on Brexit is certainly very similar to what Matt Hancock, the Health Secretary, was saying there just a moment ago. She's very keen to see compromise on Brexit. And by that, she means compromise from the Prime Minister. She's hoping that there can be some breakthrough in those talks between the Conservative government and the Labour Party at Westminster next week. But we've also heard from senior Westminster politicians over the last couple of days, from Home Secretary Sajid Javid, from the Environment Secretary Michael Gove. Now, they're not going anywhere near as far as that, but they are blaming Brexit for those incredible losses for the Conservatives in the English council elections, almost 1,300. They say it's a failure of their party to get the Brexit deal through Westminster that has caused those ructions in councils right across England and some probably in Northern Ireland as well, not so much for the Conservatives. But we've also heard from Ruth Davidson, her main focus today was tackling independence. That's the focus that she's... The other two are making a leadership pitch for Theresa May's job. Her leadership pitch today was for the First Minister's job.
OK, Colin Mackay in Aberdeen, thank you. All 143 people on board a Boeing 737 escaped with their lives today when it ditched in a river in Florida. The military-chartered plane en route from Guantanamo Bay had been trying to land in a thunderstorm at a naval airbase in Jacksonville. Ria Chatterjee has the details.
A machine so powerful, looking really rather helpless. The shadows of emergency workers clear. Exactly what happened, though, not quite. None of the 143 people on board were seriously hurt, though some were treated for minor injuries.
It is a miracle. It could have ended we could be talking about a different story this evening, so I think there's a lot to say about the professionalism of the folks that helped the passengers off the airplane.
The flight had come in from Guantanamo Bay in Cuba to a military base in Jacksonville in Florida. It's believed the plane skidded off the runway into the river during a thunderstorm.
We had over 50 firefighters on scene within 15-20 minutes. The crews all were able to, our crews went in the water immediately to the wing edge and started escorting people that were on the wing edge to the shore.
One passenger reported smelling jet fuel, and there is a concern that it's leaking into the river. Going forward, there'll be a full investigation into how this Boeing 737 ended up so off course. Ria Chatterjee, ITV News.
Portuguese detectives looking into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann are reportedly investigating a new suspect. The reports, published in a Lisbon-based newspaper on the 12th anniversary of her disappearance, say Scotland Yard passed information onto police in Portugal. Over 1.5 million people were taken into shelters in Bangladesh as Cyclone Fani advanced from India. 17 people have died so far in both countries, but the mass evacuations have helped avoid major loss of life. The new King of Thailand has been crowned on the first of 3 days of coronation ceremonies. King Rama X inherited the throne more than 2 years ago, making him Thailand's first new monarch for 70 years. Sport now, and a record 53,000 fans are expected at Wembley today for the Women's FA Cup final. Underdogs West Ham, who this time last year were an amateur side, are hoping for a cup upset against hot favourites Man City. Well, that is it. Lucrezia Motorini will have more news at 6 o'clock. For now, though, have a great afternoon, won't you? Bye-bye.